Hey everyone, welcome back to nullmicgo channel, your daily dose of what's happening in AI. Today is February 18th, 2026, and the AI world is absolutely packed with news. From storage and memory crises, to OpenAI shutting down major models, to AI agents controlling real iPhones, to labor and copyright battles around the world. We've got 10 stories to cover, so let's jump straight in. Story 1. AI is eating all the hardware. First up, the hardware crunch that everyone's been worrying about just got very real. This news comes from Gizmodo Tech News and was released on February 17th, 2026. Gizmodo is reporting that AI companies have effectively bought out all of Western Digital's hard drives for 2026. Western Digital has committed essentially its entire HDD production to data center customers for at least the rest of the year. What does that mean? In practice, it suggests that hyperscale AI data centers are sucking up so much storage capacity that traditional buyers like smaller cloud providers, enterprises, and potentially even some consumer channels could be squeezed. This isn't just about more YouTube videos or backups. Training and running massive AI models requires insane amounts of storage for datasets, logs, vector databases, and model checkpoints. If one of the largest drive makers is basically sold out to AI, that's a signal. AI demand is now dictating the entire storage market. And that connects directly to our second story. This news comes from PC Gamer, surfaced via Hacker News AI Topics, and was highlighted on February 17th, 2026. PC Gamer is reporting on comments attributed to the CEO of Phison, a major controller and storage company. According to that report, many consumer electronics manufacturers may go bankrupt or exit product lines by the end of 2026 because of what's being called the AI memory crisis. In other words, as AI data centers hoover up SSDs, DRAM, and NAND for GPUs and servers, the cost and availability of memory for things like laptops, smartphones, and gaming devices could get hammered. Margins on consumer devices are already thin, so if memory prices spike or supply tightens, some companies simply won't survive. So story 1 and 2 together paint a pretty stark picture. AI isn't just software eating the world. It's also eating the entire hardware supply chain. Storage, memory, and compute are being reprioritized for AI workloads first, everyone else second. Story 2, Agentic AI and tools for builders. Now, while infrastructure is straining, the software side of AI agents is accelerating fast. This news comes directly from Temporal and was surfaced via Hacker News AI Topics. It was released on February 17th, 2026. Temporal announced a massive $300 million Series D round to make agentic AI real for companies. If you're not familiar with Temporal, they build a workflow orchestration platform, basically a way to define long-running, reliable processes in code. Why does that matter for AI agents? Because today's agents that call tools, APIs, and run complex sequences of tasks need reliability, retries, state management, error handling, and audit trails. Temporal is positioning itself as the backbone for these enterprise AI agents, turning random LLM calls into robust production-grade workflows. So you can imagine an AI agent that doesn't just answer chat questions, but coordinates dozens of microservices, runs multi-step business processes, and keeps track of everything over hours or days. That's the kind of thing Temporal is trying to power with this new funding. And speaking of agents that can talk to tools, this next news comes from MarkTech Post AI News and was released on February 16th, 2026. Travel giant Agoda has open sourced something called APIAgent. It's a tool that lets you convert any REST or GraphQL API into a Model Context Protocol or MCP server with zero code. If you've been following the MCP ecosystem, you know it's emerging as a standard way for AI models and agents to talk to external tools in a structured, secure way. Agoda's APIAgent basically says, you've got an API, cool. Push a button, and now it's available as an MCP tool your AI agents can use. that massively lowers the barrier for hooking AI into existing systems, booking engines, CRMs, internal dashboards, you name it. Combine that with what Temporal is doing, and you start to see a stack forming. MCP for tool access, platforms like Temporal for orchestration, and big models on top to reason and act. And then we get to the frontier of agents in the physical world, or at least close to it. This news comes from Hacker News AI Topics in a Show HN post and was shared on February 17th, 2026. A project called Mirroir has been released. It's an MCP server that gives AI agents control of a real iPhone, not a simulator. The website is mirroir.dv and the code is open source under Apache 2 on GitHub. Here's how it works. According to the Hacker News description, Mirroir piggybacks on macOS's iPhone mirroring feature. It captures the mirrored iPhone screen, runs Apple Vision OCR to detect UI elements and their coordinates, and then uses a Carabiner driver kit virtual keyboard and mouse to send taps, swipes, and typing to the phone. The AI sees the live screen, decides what to do, tap this button, type this text, swipe here, and the iPhone responds in real time. So you could, in principle, have an AI agent actually using any iOS app the way a human would, including apps that don't have an exposed API. There are limitations. It only works on macOS 15 or later, one phone at a time. The phone has to stay unlocked, and there's no clipboard paste bridge because of how Apple's continuity system works. But this is a big step toward embodied agents that can operate real devices in the wild. Put these three together: Temporal's funding for robust agent workflows, Agoda's APIAgent for easy tool integration, and Mirroir for direct device control, and you get a clear theme. 2026 is the year AI agents stop being just chatbots and start becoming full stack operators of systems and devices. Story 3: OpenAI shuts down GPT, 4o, and legacy models. Next, we've got a major shift in the model landscape. This news comes from Unwire HK, a Hong Kong tech news outlet, and was released on February 17th, 2026. According to Unwire HK, OpenAI officially shut down the controversial GPT-4o model on February 13th. They also deprecated several other models, including GPT-5 instant and thinking modes, GPT-4-1, GPT-4-1 mini, and OpenAI's O4 mini. OpenAI had announced this decision on its official site at the end of January, giving users a 2-week transition period. Unwire HK notes that OpenAI said only about 0.1% of users were still using GPT-4o, which is part of how they justified retiring it. So what's going on here? It looks like OpenAI is consolidating its model lineup, likely to reduce maintenance complexity, focus on newer flagship models, and maybe address some of the controversies around GPT-4o's behavior and safety profile. For developers and companies, this is another reminder. You can't treat any single AI model as permanent infrastructure. The industry is moving fast, and providers are willing to turn off even big-name models if usage drops or strategies change. Interestingly, that ties back to Temporal and APIAgent. If you design your AI systems as pluggable, orchestrated workflows, it's easier to swap out models when vendors deprecate them. Story 4: AI in healthcare, digital twins. Let's shift from infrastructure and agents to real-world impact on health. This news comes from Wired's Artificial Intelligence section and was released on February 17th, 2026. Wired is reporting on how AI digital twins are helping people manage diabetes and obesity. The article focuses on a Silicon Valley startup called Twin Health, which is using AI plus wearable sensors to build a kind of personalized virtual model of each patient's metabolism and health. Instead of just prescribing a one-size-fits-all drug, Twin Health system tracks things like blood sugar, activity, sleep, and other metrics to give tailored recommendations, what to eat, when to move, how to adjust lifestyle, all guided by an AI model of your body. This is especially timely because many patients and employers are looking for alternatives to expensive GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. If AI-driven programs can reduce dependence on those drugs for some patients, there are huge potential cost savings and health benefits. It's a fascinating counterpoint to the hardware crisis story. While data centers are being built to power ever larger models, some of that compute is going into deeply personal, high-impact applications like managing chronic diseases. Story 5. AI, social media, and public trust. Now, let's talk about how the public is actually experiencing all this AI. This news comes from CNET Tech News and was released on February 17th, 2026. CNET ran a survey on AI content in social media, and the results are concerning. According to their findings, AI is rapidly taking over social feeds, but only 44% of people feel confident they can actually spot AI-generated content. So more than half of users are basically saying, I don't know what's real anymore. At the same time, about half of social media users in the survey said they want better labels on AI-generated and AI-edited posts. This hits at the core of trust online. If we can't tell human-made from machine-made content, and platforms don't label it clearly, misinformation, deepfakes, and just plain confusion become the default. And this isn't just a theoretical issue, it's already fueling backlash in creative industries, which brings us to two stories out of Europe and China. Story 6. Labor and copyright battles. Netflix and ByteDance. First, AI and labor. This news comes from Unwire HK and was released on February 17th, 2026. Unwire HK reports that Netflix is in a serious conflict with the German dubbing industry. The article says Netflix has effectively forced German voice actors into having their voices used to train AI dubbing systems, leading to a collective boycott by German dub actors. Details in Unwire's reporting suggest that Netflix's push into AI voice cloning and automated dubbing has crossed the line for many professionals who feel their voices and livelihoods are being appropriated for training without fair terms or consent. This is part of a broader global pattern. Actors, voice artists, and other creatives pushing back against studios and platforms that want to use AI to automate their work, often based on recordings those same humans created. Now, from labor to copyright. This next news also comes from Unwire HK and was released on February 17th, 2026. Unwire HK covers a growing copyright controversy around ByteDance's new video generation model, Seedance 2. According to the report, major studios like Disney and Paramount have raised concerns that Seedance 2 may be infringing on their intellectual property, likely through training data or style mimicry. In response, ByteDance's Li Liang has said that Seedance 2.0 will temporarily not support using real human faces as reference material. That's an attempt to address at least one layer of the copyright and privacy concerns. Users won't be able to feed in real faces to generate videos, at least for now. So on one side, you've got Netflix and voice actors fighting over AI dubbing. On the other, ByteDance and global media giants clashing over how far video generation models can go without violating copyrights and rights of publicity. Tie that back to CNET's survey on AI content in social media, and you see the pattern. As AI-generated media floods our feeds, the lines between real and synthetic, and between fair use and infringement, are getting blurrier, and the people whose work or likeness is being used are pushing back story 7, pulling it all together. If we zoom out across all 10 stories, a few big themes emerge. From Gizmodo and PC Gamer, we see AI's insatiable appetite for hardware. Western Digital's 2026 hard drive production basically pre-booked, and warnings from Phison CEO that an AI-driven memory crunch could bankrupt consumer electronics makers. From Temporal's funding announcement, Agoda's APIAgent via MarkTech Post, and the Mirroir project on Hacker News, we see the rise of truly agentic AI, systems that can orchestrate complex workflows, talk to any API via MCP, and even control real iPhones like a human. From Unwire HK's coverage of OpenAI shutting down GPT-4o and other legacy models, we see an ecosystem in constant flux where even flagship models can disappear and developers have to design for rapid change. From Wire's profile of Twin Health, we see AI's potential to radically improve chronic disease management, offering personalized care and alternatives to high-cost drugs for diabetes and obesity. From CNET's survey and Unwire HK's reporting on Netflix and ByteDance, we see the social friction, people struggling to detect AI content, demanding better labels, voice actors in Germany boycotting Netflix over AI dubbing, and global studios questioning whether ByteDance's Seasons 2 crosses copyright lines. The story of AI right now isn't just cool new models. It's compute and storage markets being reshaped, new software stacks for agents emerging, major platform decisions from companies like OpenAI, life-changing healthcare applications, and serious conflicts over labor, rights, and trust. You've been watching nullmicgo channel. If you found this roundup helpful, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next wave of AI news. Let me know in the comments which of these stories you think will have the biggest impact this year: the hardware crunch, the rise of agents, or the creative industry backlash. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.